I'm Nidhi Sinha, Editor Outlook Money, and I have with me today Mr. Tapan Singhel, MD and CEO of Bajaj Allianz General Insurance, who will help us debunk some myths around health insurance. So, welcome Mr. Singhel to this show again, and let us start with the most basic question, which is, according to you, what are the most common myths in health insurance?
First and foremost, thank you, Nidhi. It's a pleasure being here. Now, I think the biggest myth on health insurance or any insurance I see is that insurance companies don't pay claims, which actually I find very fascinating, because if I look at the data, then a huge amount of claims is getting paid. And if I look at the issue in terms of the rejection or grievance ratio, it is still among the least in the entire financial world, or even if you look at e-commerce and other places. But still the feeling is there, and maybe it is so because of the process in which the claim gets paid is what would create this friction, and that is what has to be worked upon. But I can very confidently say that huge amount of claims get paid. In fact, in COVID time, 40,000 crore of claims got paid for COVID only. And when COVID happened, and the industry stood by it. Across the world, I think a lot of companies said COVID is not covered. But in India, the industry stood by and paid all the claims, and did not even ask the government for any support. I think so. That is the biggest myth, as per me, to begin with.
Okay. So, of course, I totally agree with you that during COVID, I think the health insurance industry, the role it played was major. But still, people tend to have certain things, and now, especially now with people having half-baked knowledge, maybe, or maybe little knowledge, not complete awareness. So there are things like, for example, a lot of people think that unless and until you have a 24-hour hospitalization, you will not be paid a claim. And that also happened a lot during COVID times, because that is something that people were fearing.
No, I think what we should understand is the kind of cover that you have. See, you also have an OPD cover. OPD means that when you go for a consultation doctor, even that is covered. So there are different kinds of cover available. There are covers which would be specific to illnesses. There would be covers which would be specific to some critical illnesses. There would be a general cover which would cover everything. So anything, and that is defined. Let's say if you have a surgery for a cataract, or you have a dialysis happening, or a chemotherapy happening, it does not require 24 hours, but claim is paid. So fundamentally, if I look at the health space, there are close to, in my view, minimum 40 kinds of cover, which are available. The only request I have to the consumer is that when you are buying something, like if you buy anything, I've seen even you buy a piece of shirt or a cloth, you go to 3 stores, you look at it, you spend some time figuring it out. If you're buying a vehicle, you research about it. But why, when you buy an insurance, you just sign on the document, even though they're asking some basic questions about what it is. So there are covers available which would cover even OPD consultation, which would be covered. There are covers available which would cover even for illnesses which do not require 24 hours hospitalization. So please look for the right cover and be well insured.
Right. So in fact, awareness is, you rightly raised that awareness is a major issue, and which basically spawns these myths that we are talking about and we are debunking. So the other thing that most people think is that if I have a pre-existing disease, then I will not get a cover at all. So people are not even going out and exploring. So what do you have to say to that?
So there are 2 things to it. First and foremost, it's on declaration. I think a lot of people feel that if they declare that they have this illness, they will not get a cover, and so they do not declare the time of taking the cover. Now what happens when a claim happens and you're not declared, and doctors will write, they'll write your history, they'll write from the time you had the incident, and if it is detected that you had the illness before you took the cover, and you have not declared it, then they get repudiated. Rightly so, because let us say anybody who contacts an illness and then goes to, and he has to undergo, or she has to undergo a surgery, let's say in the next 3-4 months, and then you go buy an insurance, and then go for surgery, then the business can't operate like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But having said that, if you declare your pre-existing disease, then the insurance company underwrites it, and they give you an adequate cover which should take care of the illness and the relevant period and what exactly it is. Let's say if you have diabetes, you declare that you have hypertension, then you get a cover on that basis. And if a claim happens, then it gets paid very gracefully.
Okay.
And this is why I've seen the conflict in health insurance in claims is only for this part, where we have not declared exactly what illnesses do we have. Please do declare, and there are coverages available for the illnesses. Now, this stage happens because we try to take health insurance in the later part of our lives. One of the other requests I have is buy an health insurance when you are very fit. The premium is insignificant and you actually have no illnesses, and that policy runs for a couple of years. It becomes very powerful policy. Anything which happens gets paid without question. I have not seen any kind of disconnect or grievance or an issue for policies which have matured after a couple of years, and claims get paid very smooth. So to answer your question, two things: please declare the pre-existing disease. The insurance companies do underwrite it, and you get a cover. At the same time, also ensure that you try and take a policy early in your age when you are very fit, so you don't have to get into any kind of hassle like this further down in your life when you have an issue coming up.
Right. To get comprehensive cover, in fact, you should buy early, because then there will be no waiting periods. Now there are specific PD covers also, I believe.
Yeah, so you have cover for cancer, you have cover for diabetes. So insurance companies have really, as I said, the number of covers that they have come out with is amazing. They are trying to solve each issue as it comes together. If I go back, that's in the very early years, 20 years back, a health policy would have looked very different from the way the health policy is designed now. So they are continuously improvising, and with a lot of data coming in, they are continuously coming with solutions. And I also am very impressed with the way the industry is moving forward. Like OPD cover, if I spoke 5 years back, it was not heard about. Today I'm saying OPD cover is available. So please keep on rechecking and relooking and asking the right question in terms of what you're looking for.
Right. So one of the other issues is, like you have been saying, that it is important to buy early, and of course it is important because then you get rid of all the exclusions and waiting periods. But people also tend to kind of stick to the sum insured that they have opted for. What is your advice on that? As you progress in age, should you also relook at the sum insured?
I love your questions, because these are the problems which a consumer faces. I think you're asking very relevant questions. So what happened, let's say I bought a health policy 10 years back, and then my sum insured was 2 lakh rupees.
Right.
In 10 years back, 2 lakh rupees was a good base sum insured to have, because it covered majority of illnesses. Health inflation hovers in double-digit number every year. So let's say you do a compounding effect of a double-digit health inflation on 10 years time, and then the 2 lakh becomes insignificant today's time. But as I said, when we are buying a policy also, we don't spend even the minimum time of asking some question. We just sign the dotted line and we just take a policy. Second, when you're renewing the policy also, we just renew and send the check. We don't even ask this question that will this sum insured be relevant for me now with inflation moving up. Our salaries have moved. 10 years back, what was the salary? And if we see today, what's the salary? See how much has that moved up? See how the inflation has moved up. Then how can the sum insured be adequate, which we took 10 years back? I would strongly recommend that every year you should increase your sum insured at least by 10 to 15%. If not, every 3 years try to increase by 50% or so every time. As you mature also, you require a good sum insured as it progresses. And with the advancement happening in the medical field, it is getting more and more expensive compared to what it was. I jokingly tell, when I was a child, if I had headache, one scolding from my mother would cure my headache. Today, if a child has a headache, an MRI gets done to figure it out. So
absolutely.
So it's very expensive nowadays to
even have a headache.
So it's better to be well covered and have a good sum insured. Yes.
So of course there are especially after post-COVID, some amount of awareness has increased. People have started buying health insurance. But still there is a section who feel that, if I am, and since we are talking about myths, so people think that, oh, I am healthy and I'm young, so I don't need a health insurance right now because, there is no emergency which is likely to come up right now. So what do you have to say to that section of people?
Yeah, you also don't require the samosa, the cigarette, or the outing. I think what you have to think about vis-a-vis the cost and the impact it has and the way it secures your future. And also when you feel that nothing can go wrong with me, you should go to the hospital and stand and look at the billing counter to see what has gone wrong with what kind of people. So these impressions would go down. So I always say I'm blessed to be an insurer because I understand the risk. Every day I see cases which I could not believe could happen. Like on this express highway, for 3 nights continuously I saw car crashes of cars parked at the toll and somebody hits from behind.
Yeah.
Now the person thinks I'm the safest driving guy. What can go wrong with me? I'm driving safe, I'm driving at the best speed, I'm in the right lane. And that person stops the car to pay the toll, and then somebody from behind comes and bangs, and there are fatalities happening. So I think one should never underestimate of what can go wrong. And God willing, nothing should go wrong with us, but one should never think that it can't happen to me. That's the first thing that is my learning of my life as I've seen so many cases. The second thing that one should also think about is, let's say if I pay the premium, how much does it cost? Is it so expensive that I can't afford? Luckily in India, the premiums are very, very reasonable. A health premium would be equivalent to the meal that you would spend in an evening out with your friends. That's all.
Right.
It is not so expensive that you can't afford. Now let's say if I pay the premium and today I'm healthy and nothing is wrong with me, but 3-4 years from now something goes wrong, my policy is actually a very powerful policy. Everything gets paid. That's the third thing. Fourth is, if nothing also gets, I don't require any money, let's say, and that's a very good situation to me, that you don't require any claim, but your money is being used for somebody else's benefit, Do we realize that the premium we pay is actually the claim that gets paid to somebody else, because our premium is small, but the claim getting paid is big.
Yeah.
So a lot of premiums that you pay gets pooled together to pay the big claim, So the way I look at it, the way I pay premium, every day I believe that this money should be used for somebody else, God. It should not be like, that I may require this money.
Right.
But my money is being used for a good cause. So even if I don't require it, if I did not have one outing with my friends and from that money I bought a health policy or an insurance policy, and that's being utilized for somebody else's benefit, what's wrong in that?
Yeah.
So I think it's the way we look at it. Why should we see insurance policy as something in which we pay money to get something? This is not that case. This is somewhere when you pay the money and hope that nothing should come to me,
Right.
So it comes to you, means something has gone wrong with you. Why should you want to be in that position?
In fact, it's like your car insurance. So it is covering a certain uncertainty, and very valid point that, even if you have, it's going for a good cause ultimately.
Exactly.
But the young cohort, you were talking about how they, mindlessly spend sometimes on, just a meal with friends and all. And that's the premium that they have to pay. Another thing that you see, and a lot of youngsters get into these corporate jobs, are well paid, they get employee coverage. And that there is this feeling that, okay, my company is covering me, so I don't need a individual health insurance per se. So what are the gaps that they can face there?
I'm very impressed with your knowledge on health insurance. You should join the insurance industry now, the way I look at it. First and foremost, I think, let me first say, I love it when kids spend money. It's not mindless spending. I think they should spend money, and they should have relished life. They should have experience which is there. But they should also take care of, as in my earlier times, it used to be the rainy day. Something goes wrong. Earlier people used to say save money. Today we say buy insurance, so at least you are protected. Now coming to the job in a corporate world, if they can guarantee two things, then I think it's fine. One is that they'll always be in the same job, and two, the company will always take a health cover for the employees. If this is guaranteed, then at least you have a mental peace. But when you retire, I hope the company is going to take care of health policy after retirement also, till you are alive. If that is kind of done, then you don't require health policy. Be happy.
So that is primarily with government servants perhaps, which used to happen. I don't know.
Even there, they have a lot of government servants and people in government have private health insurance. I'll tell you why. No, but it doesn't happen. People quit jobs, they join different job, or they leave, or the sum insured that the company is providing is too small, or when they retire it is gone, and that's the time you require it maximum. And now you have pre-existing diseases and no, all that starts kicking in and your cover gets limited, and when you require it the most, it's done for. So what I have done is what I can tell you. So my company provides me a health cover from the very beginning. But I've taken a top up on that, which is a large amount of money. I've taken a critical illness cover. I've taken OPD cover. So I have all that cover which I pay for. The premium. So even if I, let's say, quit the company or the company stops providing me health cover, I already have a substantial amount of health cover which I've been taking for now close to 25, 27 years now, and which is already there. So those pre-existing everything that you're talking about is fully all covered. Just the base cover may remain, which is a couple of lakh rupees, but then now in today's with the inflation time, I can afford that, and the whole thing starts. So my recommendation would be that please have your own individual health cover on top of what the company is providing, and be very well covered. It pays in the long run.
And especially because we see a lot of people changing jobs, especially at a younger stage. So there are gaps, etc. So another thing that while we are talking about the youngsters, a lot of parents are now sending their children abroad to study. And so one of the things that they have, because at that stage the child is not earning on their own. Of course, some countries have a health insurance system even for students. But one of the concerns that I see is that parents think, if I buy a health insurance cover here for my kid, whether it will take care of him or her while he or she is studying abroad. So what is the what is the reality on that front?
Yeah. So we have this cover for kids who are studying abroad, and most companies actually figure out what are the university requirements. On that basis, their policies are designed, and they are able to serve it well. So I don't think the parents should hesitate in terms of buying a cover. What they should look for is what is the university requirement, and does the health cover provided here has those requirements. Okay. If it is provided for, they should submit to the university, and most of the universities agree to that. So they can check with the university. If they agree, then they have a good cover. Like we are already servicing so many claims across the world, that is not an issue of concern. Okay. And the Indian insurance companies are very well able to cater to that. Right. But the only thing that has to be done is please check with the university, see what is the requirement that they have, and check with the policy that does it cover that or not. If it covers, perfectly fine. I think that is the only that has to be seen.
Okay. So, sir, your last words on some of the what people should do rather than falling for myths around health insurance.
One have a lot of belief in the insurance industry. I'll tell you why, and this data is available on the regulatory websites, the public domain data. The industry has a combined ratio of 118, which actually means that they're paying 118 to 100 rupees that they're getting. They're really paying claims. They pay it very, very well. The problem comes in insurances when if your house is on fire and that time you want to buy a house policy, it gets difficult. Or if you bought a policy, then the claim gets into an issue. So it's always very good to buy a policy and be well covered and have the proper declaration when buying the policy. As I mentioned, even if you have any pre-existing illnesses, please mention that. And once you have that, it's a very powerful policy for you. I've not seen any claim disputes happening in mature policies. I've not seen any claim disputes happening from people who have been well covered. I've seen, on the contrary, people not covered taking loans. I've seen people not covered go below poverty line. I've seen disasters happening for people who didn't have insurance. So my only recommendation of all the years of experience I have is take a good health cover, be covered, and take it at your level. Don't worry whether your company has it, doesn't have it, and take it young. It doesn't cost you much money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singhel, for your time. And to our viewers, of course, there were many takeaways in this conversation. Awareness is the key. Health insurance is not as expensive as you feel, and there are several other factors that you can kind of bank on. So go read that policy carefully and buy one for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.